Today we're looking at the probably most overloaded support in the game. Hello my fellow misfortunates and welcome to another Challenger analysis. Today we are looking at a Thresh game, and Thresh is a very interesting champion because he has a lot of depth to him, but at the same time he can still be effective if you just know his basic combos. And in this lane especially, I mean, he should have a good matchup there because, well, the only champion he really hates is Morgana, because she can obviously block the hook for her allies. But also against tank supports, hooking a tank support is not really always the best thing ever. But against two squishy champions, Ashe support we have here, same against any mage or enchanter support, Thresh just loves to get those hooks in. But anyway, you can play Thresh in a lot of different ways. Well, not really. That sounds more broad than it actually is. I'm just talking in terms of runes and to some extent itemization, because Thresh doesn't really need any offensive stat or capability. He has so much utility that all he really needs to do is stay alive for as long as possible to, well, disrupt the enemy as much as possible. So, first item is the steel shoulder guards. You can go Relic Shield, it doesn't really matter, but steel shoulder guards tends to outperform Relic Shield across the board. So yeah, your keystone's obviously Aftershock, because again, the longer you can stay alive, the more you can provide utility to your team. And well, right there, a nice try though. The thing with Thresh is his hook is not instant. This play though, that is instant, and that sets up the gank nicely for Nidalee. But this should be enough, right? She forced Ashe to turn around. Okay, they trade 1 for 1. Ah, oh, come on, dude. We hate to see it. But then landing Thresh's hook is arguably more difficult. What is this? What a party already. Oh well. I guess Challenger players love action. But yeah, his hook is, it has the longest wind up out of any hook in the game. So you do need to be tricky with it, or you can, well, there are two options. The first of which is to just go for predictions to try and predict the enemy movement pattern. Because the thing with Thresh's hook is, it's not really, well, it's not really visible where you're gonna hook. To be precise, it's not visible at all, unless you like try to do a 180, because then Thresh turns. But if you hook within a 180-degree cone, so 90 degrees to the left or to the right, you won't turn until the hook goes out. So the wind-up animation won't tell the enemy where it's actually landing. So what you can do is you can look at one enemy and hook another, and they probably won't react because they think Thresh is facing his target, which he isn't. But his bread and butter combo, where you don't need any predictions and where you can utilize his hook very nicely, is when you just walk up to them and flay them into you, and then hook them as they are slowed by flay. So this is really... What are they? They are super aggressive here. Hang on. But yeah, this is really the... Okay, close. The bread and butter combo. You see, the enemies are managing to dodge those hooks because, again, they're not instant. You need to be predictive. So about the ability skill order, well, all of his skills provide a lot of utility at rank 1. So one skill point in them is enough already. You could probably be successful with Thresh, just getting 1 point in every single ability and then never leveling an ability again. So yeah, there are a multitude of build orders that exist. I think Qmax is the most popular, but this person is actually going for Wmax. What this does, obviously, is, well, all of them have their perks. Wmax gives you a larger shield, lower cooldown. Emax would give you a more damage, obviously, and a bigger slow after your E connects. It goes from 20 to 40%. And Q gives you more damage, lower cooldown, stuff like that. So yeah, Q max being the most popular. because Thresh also gets a 3-second refund when he lands his Q, and when you get a naturally lower Q cooldown due to the level up or the rank up in the ability, those 3 seconds matter a lot more percentage-wise. So that's the idea behind that. But yeah, technically all of his abilities already do their jobs at rank 1. The Lantern gives your enemies engage and disengage. The Hook gives you engage, and the Flay gives you disruption. It's really... Thresh is so independent of items. I have seen challenger players or high-level players write stuff like Thresh could have 0 base damage on his spells and he would still be a top-tier support. That's a bit of a stretch, I would say, because this would mean you auto-lose every trade. But there is some truth to it, definitely. Yeah, very nice there. Obviously, red team had numbers advantage. The Kai'Sa just got caught out of position. But yeah, with Thresh, again, you have so much utility. So yeah, this player, also with his shards, I don't really agree. Well, maybe it's a misclick, I don't know. But he took attack speed and adaptive force instead of what most players are doing, which is going for ability haste. Makes sense in Thresh, right? The more ability haste you have, the more you have your utility tools at your disposal. But yeah, most players go for ability haste and double armor. Oh well. Doesn't matter too much. Again, Thresh can perform well with anything. But, well, as I've said, Aftershock is the best keystone because it allows you to survive longer, which means you get to apply your disruption for longer. And the same concept applies to the choice of mythic items. So, Thresh's best mythic item is the Locket of the Iron Solari. Again, just giving an extra shield to himself and his teammates and just staying alive for longer. The same point. The longer you stay alive, the more you can disrupt your enemies and assist your allies. So, I have a question for you. What do you guess? How much do you think is this Thresh spending on control wards this game? I'm curious. I will tell you at the end, or in the end, or maybe you can keep track. I don't know if you want to do that, but just write that in the comments right now and see how far off or how close you were in the end. Because I was a little bit surprised. I didn't think he would work off of that little gold, because he spends a lot. Spoiler alert. Alright, I think he's spotted. That's not gonna work. Ganking your own lane, always a nice play, especially when you can Lantern in the jungler. That's probably one of the best aspects of Thresh. You can just assist jungle ganks so easily. Even junglers without some... junglers and mid laners, well, in this case it was the mid laner, but Nidaleigh's problem... She has a lot of damage, but her problem is that she can't CC anyone, right? Her kit doesn't allow that. But if Thresh or if her teammates can do that for her, she can apply her damage so much more easily. So Thresh, a pick good in any matchup. He's also in the current meta just, well, you might argue the strongest support in the game, but definitely one of the strongest. Alright, so you saw the first item, mobility boots. I've just said random, or not random, but I've just given overviews over Thresh and not really dug into this game, which is quite interesting though. And because Thresh already roamed quite a bit, and Moby Boots obviously allow him to do that. That's like the most important item on Thresh. You see right there, him and Aphelios going top lane to catch at Aurelia. She might try to farm these Krags, or I don't know what she's doing. She went through Tribush, so I guess Thresh was expecting her to go to the Krags, but it doesn't happen. And they swap lanes. Obviously, I can't read chat and I can't read minds, so I don't know exactly why. Typically there's always a reason behind it, but can we see dragon timer and stuff like that? Oh no, now I eliminated the scoreboard, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if we can see dragon timer. Oh, chat came back as well, I don't want that. Okay, now we're good. Anyway, switch to top lane. And yeah, typically when you switch lanes is when jungle objectives are on the line. As in, you want to do dragon very soon, so you get more people bot lane, or in this case you want to get Herald very soon, so you get more people top lane. It's also the reason why bot lane is a dual lane to begin with, so you have more dragon control, you have more people on dragon. But, okay, now maybe they're switching back, because dragon is definitely spawning in less than 1 minute, which is indicated by the icon. Ah, okay, indeed. They are no longer heading top lane. Well, Thresh can obviously go wherever he needs to. Oh, the enemy... Why are they going top lane? It doesn't make sense. When dragon is spawning soon, you want to have people bot lane. Oh well, I'm confused by these challenger tactics. This is a challenger game, so I guess there's a plan behind this. But I would have been curious. What do you think? Why are they doing this? I want to know. Maybe some of you knows and sees something I don't. Anyway, you also want to shove mid lane before doing Dragon or Baron, or Rift Herald, so this is when Eulalie takes the farm, and Thresh just kept the wave out of tower so it doesn't just die to the tower and the gold gets burned. Yeah, now Dragon spawning, now everyone's bot lane. Okay, so they were just going top lane because Dragon was not yet spawned, I suppose. But as soon as it spawned, they are pressuring it. So far it's a pretty even game though. Yeah, okay, from out of vision. This is also another way of landing hooks with Thresh. If they can't see it coming at all, but in this case it still didn't land. Obviously, he's also playing against challenger opponents, so, well, they're definitely doing their best to avoid the hook, but a challenger Thresh, I would have hoped we see more crazy outplays there, or crazy engages. But so far the enemy are doing a good job, which is, I think, also a good thing. We don't want to see a stomp, do we? But this might be a nice dive, though, together with the jungler. Enemy sees it coming, though. Wow. They are not missing a beat on the minimap. Yeah, typical Iron to Platinum player would have stayed under tower and just gotten dived, diven, I don't know. But yeah, it's obviously better to leave the tower and lose the minions than to die and then lose the minions regardless. Okay, that's a 2v2. Missing arrow though. Yeah, that's bad for them. Blue team's gonna get destroyed. Arrow is like the most important ability for Ashe. As soon as you miss that, it's like a Morgana or Lux Q, but more important. If you fire that spell and you don't connect with it, you need to leave it. You can't just still go in. Okay, even sacrificing his flash there. Yeah, he's trying. He's definitely not afraid to go in, but so far it has not paid off. But it's all right. He's Thresh. He doesn't need to. Well, this would have been a nice kill for the Aphelios, but it's not like with a mage support or damage-oriented support where you need kills in order to be impactful. Thresh is impactful in any case. It doesn't matter, really. They're still applying loads of pressure. But yeah, obviously burning your flash, getting nothing in return is not really what you want to do. So, Thresh is working on his Mythic now, the Lockhead, as I've said. By the way, fun fact, those souls Thresh can collect off of minions and champions and monsters and stuff, you can get, if you go into a custom game and try it, you can get up to 999,999 souls, then it will stop counting. But at that point, for each soul you get bonus armor and bonus ability power. So at this point you take a 99.99% reduced damage from physical sources. But if the enemy has a Last Whisper, you only take 99.98% damage. So the damage doubles, obviously. I mean, it's whatever, right? But I have a nag for infinitely scaling champions. Maybe I should pick up, or I should play Thresh more often myself. I used to play Senna a lot, but as Garden commented under one of my threads, Senna's really, really bad right now. She needs to get buffed. Anyway, is that a gank? Or, well, you could call it gank at that point. Come on, Thresh. Well, they're still getting the Ashe, though, so it should be alright. Yeah, so even... The thing is, with Blitzcrank, for example, if you missed your hook, what you gonna do? You can't really do much, but, well, you can knock somebody up with your Iron Fist or whatever it's called. But Thresh, even if he misses his hook, he still has an AoE displacement spell in his play. Crazy utility with this ulti. It's a great zoning tool. Nice. Good cleanup. And he still has his Lantern, which is like the most unique spell, right? Gives you so many tools. It's like the best part of Lantern. It's offensive, defensive, and utility, and combat stats. Like, you can Lantern somebody in for an engage, but you can also Lantern somebody out if they're in trouble, and if the enemy doesn't, like, block the Lantern with wards or anything. But you can also shield your ally with it, obviously. And last but not least, you can use it to scout bushes to provide vision, because the Lantern and the zone around it does provide sight. Okay, next dragon is spawning soon, so good on red team to control the bot lane that hard. Because you definitely want to take that as soon as that spawns, especially while it's free. Take the free stuff, win the game. It's the mantra I repeat ever so often to you, because I think it's very important. Yeah, just you don't need to take too many kills or go crazy. Just take objectives. League of Legends is all about objectives. And yeah, Thresh obviously can't contribute much to damaging the dragon, so he's just sitting there scouting, which is fine. He can peel for himself quite well too. Yeah, take the dragon. They didn't even fight over it. Now they just reset, get their items. And Thresh finally gets his locket. So yeah, as a support, you, well, you get your items quite late. We are at 19-ish minutes, and only now did Thresh complete his first item. But again, I hope you made an educated guess on how much Thresh would spend on control wards this game. Quick reminder, he just bought another 2 in that one base. Now he's dead. Thresh can continue zoning and helping his Aphelios there. Yeah. They're running in the wrong direction. They're running into the enemy base. Ooh. He has no allies with him there. So, yeah, he needs to disengage from the Kai'Sa. This actually looks quite bad now. I guess red team should not have split up. Oh, nice. You saw that he looked at the Anivia egg and then queued the Ashe, so she didn't see it coming. That's exactly what I meant. This is what you need to be doing. But he's kind of running there. He might be fine. Ooh, that was interesting. Yeah, just with his Lantern he created so much pressure. He flashed for it though, so I'm not sure if it's worth it. Again, this Thresh is aggressive, is trying to make plays, but as you see, they don't work out very often. And they don't need to really, because, I mean, Thresh is not a priority target. He is tedious to kill with Aftershock and all his defenses and his items. And, well, he doesn't deal damage, so in a teamfight, when you are against Thresh, you should just be ignoring him anyway. So his flash is worth more than that of a carry or a damage dealer or even a bruiser, to be completely honest. No, did I just say it the other way around? No. His flash is worth less than that of most other champions. Yeah, that arrow was brutal. He's dead. Alright. Working towards, well, Negatron Cloak. I guess he's buying Mikhail's next. The following items, I mean, again, Thresh works with probably with 0 items, to be completely honest. Again, that's an exaggeration, but it still drives home the point. So yeah, you just pick whatever utility tool your team needs. And in this case, they got Ashe Arrow, they got a Anivia Stun. They got Irelia stun, so yeah, going for that Mikhail's is quite valuable, because, well, especially Ash Arrow is a big thing to remove. How much does it stun at max rank? At max range? I don't know, 5 seconds, maybe more? Just being able to Mikhail's that away, cleansing your teammates, that's super valuable. Again, they need to finally take that mid tower. It's about time. They took Baron before they took the mid tower. That's crazy. That happens so rarely, because typically when mid tower is still standing, the enemy mid tower is still standing, you can't really pressure jungle objectives too well. When you lose your own, that is, because then the minions are constantly on your side of the map, providing vision for the enemy. But yeah, finally those towers going down. This is now looking quite good. Oh, nice engage. Well, he's dead though. He still provided big opportunities for his team, but he paid for that with his life. And it doesn't matter though. The enemy focused him down, but his teammates can still clean up, and he did what he needed to do. Okay, so this is definitely worth. It's 3 for 5. But whenever you do something like this, as not only as Thresh, but as any champion, if you go in and know you will die for it, you need to make sure it's worth it. Well, I used to think for a long time that dying is always a mistake in League of Legends and is always preventable. But if you can sacrifice yourself to kill multiple enemies, unless you're like the only carry on your team, then this should be a net positive. Again, the only exception to this rule is like your team has 20 kills and you have 17 of them, and your Twitch AD carry. Then you probably shouldn't sacrifice yourself to kill their support and their jungler. But especially when you're a low damage utility pick as Thresh, you really just want to create opportunities for your teammates, right? Yeah, Forbidden Idol and Negatron Cloak. I think that goes into Mikhail's. Big shutdown for the Kai'Sa, huh? Uh-oh. Yeah, just lantern him out, okay. Yeah, especially for situations like these, imagine that arrow was at longer range and stunned for longer. Then having Mikhail's is absolutely crucial, because your teammates cannot click your lantern if they're stunned. Or silenced, for that matter, or grounded. But yeah, stunned is relevant here. Best play is, by the way, not to push mid lane, but to push bot lane and top lane, because you can still take, from red team's perspective... Ooh, nice. Go give it to them. Again, all it takes is one hook and a teammate that's paying attention, and you instantly get a kill. But yeah, typically you want to push the lane where you can still take the most towers, because towers are free gold and free vision that you can just take for your team. In a mid lane, all towers are gone. You could take the inhibitor. It's arguably not too difficult to take, but still, you would need to teamfight over it, and those towers are essentially free because the enemy need to leave or walk far out of their base to defend them and set your team up to dive them. So they can't really risk that, so they are essentially free. They're easier to take. The farther away from base, the easier the objective is to take. That's a general rule of thumb. Yeah, you see exactly what happens. If they go close to that tower and try to defend it, they're just getting dived. Diven. I can't decide on a past tense form. I'm just going with the dive from now on because, I don't know, I tend to speak more British English than American English. But yeah, this is absolute disaster for the blue team. If you time it right, you can always beat Zhonya's with Thresh Hook, but there's slight mistiming, yet it still latched onto the Graves, so it's fine. And this, I mean, this should be backbreaking. And it's all because, well, obviously red team had an advantage before that, but the final nail in the coffin was really when they allowed themselves to get dived behind those, behind that tier 2 tower. And to give you some closure, Thresh spent 1,050 gold on control wards. Let that sink in for a moment. And that's on a roll that doesn't get much gold to begin with. Nice. Anyway, if you're interested in more League of Legends guides and analyses, then click the link on your screen right there. A big thank you to all my Patreons and channel members. If you want to become a Patreon yourself, just go to patreon.com/mfdb. But if you rather save your money, you can support me for free by clicking the like and the subscribe button.